going to go to our final game now. I'm just looking at the clock here. We've got 20 minutes or something like that. So don't worry, we can. It'll fly by. I promise you. I'll promise you. 20 minutes isn't that long. I call it the firing line. It's essentially the same as name association, but the thing's reversed. I'm going to give you the name of somebody, and if you can give me a little story on them, fantastic. And the first name is, and this is going to be an easy one for you, Fit Finlay.
Oh my goodness. I say incredible. Oh, because if I wish he, when I first started wrestling, like one of my trainers could be on a day-to-day basis, not like, okay, I'm going to help you put your matches together. I wish that he trained me from the get-go, because that dude, he would just take like a pinky or like your hand or your wrist and like control your body and make you fall and all these crazy things just by doing one single thing, like a little movement, a little like touch. And it's like, oh my God, how did you learn how to do that? Teach me. He's the type of person where I would want to soak in all the knowledge that he has, because he's that incredible and funny.
If you'd asked him, like, because obviously he knows quite a lot of shoot hold maneuvers. If you'd asked him, would you say, "Can you just show me how to do this for real?" And he'd show you, or would he not?
He'd like show me by applying it on me, but not really show me. He's like, let me see if I can just take it.
Nick Densmore.
Nick Densmore. OVW. I think of OVW. He wasn't really around. Like, I remember he was there for a little bit, but then like he went and they moved him up, and he was doing like oh my God, what was this gimmick? He was doing like
Eugene.
He's doing Eugene, yeah. I remember that.
Next one, Maria Kanellis.
Maria. I remember doing like her little hippity hop, like at the end of the entrance.
Any specific stories about Maria?
Not really. I remember this one time we all took pictures together. We took pictures together because I used to do this thing where whenever Mickie would put on tanner, I would just put a little bit more. Then she'd put on more tanner, and then I'd put a little bit more. And then the next thing I knew, we all looked to the side, and Maria was doing the same thing. It was so dark. And I remember we took a picture of it. I need to find that picture because we were all so tan, all three of us. And then when I remember looking at it a couple of years ago, thinking, how the hell did we walk out like that with all that tanner on? It was so heavy.
What was it? Almost like blackface by that point.
It was like we went out for like one of those bodybuilding competitions where you like painted on. That's how it looked like.
Next one is, I don't know if there's going to be a big answer, a small answer, Triple H.
Triple H. Of course, I think of the spitting of the water. He's actually, he gave me great advice. I remember he was really good at advice. One time he told me, and this was the one I carry the most with me, one of the ones, but he always told me every time you get into the ring, act like it's a commercial. And he said it doesn't matter what commercial it is or what it's for. It could be for a new fan that's barely watching you for the first time. It could be showing the company what you're capable of to do this next storyline. It could be for anything. Just whenever you get into the ring, do it for something because you want that commercial for people to see it and see who you are and what your worth is. And it's like, yeah, we'll fucking do that.
Do you remember the transition with basically Triple H to Paul the Office guy almost? Did that happen like so gradually that no one noticed, or what happened there?
No, I don't think so. I think that didn't happen while I was around. I don't think he was still like kind of one of the boys or something. Like in my mind, when I was there, it's like he was one of the boys, but not like a person to respect, but still jokes around and hangs out with the guys.
Next one, Ric Flair.
Oh, of course, the woo. Oh my goodness. In my mind, I'm like, how does he have the energy? He's just like nothing could, and knock on wood, thank goodness that nothing could like kill this man, because he's been through so much. I'm like, how many plane crashes and you're still there? Like the hospitalization, you're still there. How much wrestling have you done? Still kicking. Like this guy keeps going. So he cracks me up.
Did you? Was he someone who? In my mind, he's always in the backstage laughing and joking. Was he someone who was approachable?
Yeah. But then again, like I'm a chick, so I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough then. You've got that going for you, definitely. Next name is Lita.
Lita, let's see. Amazing. Like the one that started all the love of the red hair. And let's see. I remember I wished we would have worked with her, but because I was a heel and she was a heel, we never got a chance to work with each other. But I remember, I think we were there when I think we were on the roster. I think Eminem was around because I remember being backstage and seeing her and Trish have that main event match together. And when she did a dive to the outside in Scorpion, I was like, oh, it was one. It's kind of like almost like the Joey thing where it's like, is she okay? And she got up, and I was like, how is she doing that? I don't know. Oh my goodness, it was so scary. But man, bless her. I'm glad she's okay. But that was like, it was incredible to be there and witness that there at the arena live. And that was such an amazing moment.
The next name is Eve Torres. I believe you wrestled a fair amount, didn't you, Eve?
I think so towards the end. And then we also tagged with each other. Mm-hmm. She, to me, I don't know what happened after I left, but I remember she's a person who, like, there was so much potential too, you know? Like, she had the athletic ability, and I just feel like working with the right storylines and the right people, like, I could hope that she did so much incredible stuff.
The next name is the Bella Twins.
Bella Twins. And then I think of their whole little entrance. Let's see, a story. I think one of the first times, oh, like, this is a good story to tell. One of the first times I ever got drunk, because I didn't start drinking until, like, say 25, and I didn't really drink. I just didn't want to drink.
All those wasted years.
Right? And then when I turned 30, that's when I started, like, okay, like, I'm going to hang out with people and start drinking. And there was one time I hung out with them, and I felt so bad. There was a time where I just, like, I was drunk and I was throwing up, and I remember them holding my hair back. They were so, I was like, oh my goodness, am I like part of the sisters? They're holding my hair back and I'm throwing up. They were so sweet. Like, you know, they didn't have to do that. And it's like moments like that, as stupid as it sounds, and you know, it shows what people are capable of, what they would do for another human being. Yeah. And that's stuff like that, even though it sounds crazy because, like, oh, you know, we were drunk, you know, for me, that's the kind of people they are. Like, they value their friendships, and they're caring, and they're loving, and they were willing to do something like that for me. And for me, it's like, thanks for being there. Thanks for being my sister for that.
What's your drink of choice?
Oof. Moscow Mules. If you tell me, like, I say we go somewhere and that's the first drink I order, I like to go to places and try different, whatever their specialty is, because I want to taste whatever is popular in whatever state or whatever country. I like to taste, like, the countries and the cities and stuff. So it's like, I like to ask for that. But when it's just where it's not a place where I'm trying out new things, I always go Moscow Mules.
And what is that? I've never heard that before.
Oh, it's vodka with ginger beer.
That's not bad. I like a ginger beer. Next name is
ginger beer is so good.
I know it is. It is nice. Oh
my goodness.
It's Cockney rhyming slang over here for something else, but I won't say what it is at the moment. Next one I'm going to ask you is Mickie James.
Mickey. Yeah. I always think of, like, her little boots. Yeah. And the way when she runs the ropes. So if you notice, like, when she runs the ropes and she hits the ropes, she does, like, this little, like, Mario brother, like, boop, and her butt goes on the second rope.
Oh, really?
It's so cute. To me, she reminds me of, like, Mario Brothers, where it's like...
You see, that's the kind of thing that I imagine Rip Rogers would go apoplectic over.
I noticed that when people run the ropes too, because I was taught a different way, and I think maybe it was because of Rip because he was adamant about the reasons why. So I noticed that, but I don't say anything.
Next name is the Great Khali.
Oh, Great Khali. Oh my goodness, he was so freaking tall. I just keep thinking, like, I try to remember. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to remember a story. I just always remember him being so happy and smiling, and always just like, hey, like, okay, let's go somewhere, and always ready to go. But I don't have any stories because I think during that time I was really like introverted and I was just really like,
Yeah, and if you're introverted, you're not going to go up to the Great Khali, are you?
huh?
I said, if you're introverted, you're not going to go straight to the Great Khali, are you? Because he's
Oh,
an
because he goes
intimidating
out.
looking dude. Did you ever go to India with Great Khali and just see him like get mobbed?
No. But in my mind, I'm like, how could I not have? Like, that's insane. Because I remember talking to Katie Forbes and like seeing like pictures and the stories. I'm like, man, that I would have loved to gone. Because it's like, oh, especially like to see everything and taste the food and just meet the people and just to be in a different place. Like, I would have loved it, especially with the family. Because he always gets like everybody that we all work with.
Next name is Randy Orton.
Randy Orton. Oh my goodness. The way he moves in the ring is amazing. Like there's only a certain amount of people in the world or in history that could create a character that's so unique that it's like how did this come about? How are you the way you are? Like it's so intriguing. But I just wish he'd wear knee pads.
Do you think it's weird when guys don't wear knee pads and it just sort of just looks like they're in their underwear and a bit perverted?
I know everybody gets mad at me when I say that because I think Cody Rhodes was the same
Yeah,
thing.
I
I was
was
like,
just going to
where's
say
your
Cody Rhodes. Yeah, he looked like he just got out of the hotel and forgot to put clothes on.
this is I guess like they were telling me like back in the day, wrestlers didn't wear knee pads. So this is like their mark from carrying on what happened traditionally back in the day. But in my mind, I thought, well, they weren't really taking care of their bodies and they worked a different style that protected their knees. Now we're in an era where your knees are going to get damaged if you do not wear these things. So protect yourself, like take care of your body. Like you guys look good, protect the knees.
Mm-hmm. Do you know, someone told me, I won't say who it is, but it's someone we both know, and they said they were with Randy Orton. And do you remember when he was suspended for behavioural issues that time? And he had to go to a behavioural issue almost like rehab centre kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah, and I said, oh, can you tell me any stories from that? And he just went, absolutely not.
I don't remember that. What year was that?
Early 2006, I think.
Because I feel like he was always there from. Well, again, like I don't pay attention to anything.
So I collect these stories like
Wasn't he?
Pokemon cards, you know.
But I want to hear these stories. In my mind, I'm thinking, like in my mind, I thought he was there the entire time. So the fact that he wasn't at some point, what was going on in my head?
Oh, it was like a month or two, so it wasn't like a protracted amount of time. But anyway, I'll give you a couple more names.
But Randy, like you'd notice if he's not around. So how did I not notice?
Who am I going to ask? I actually written Cody Rhodes, so I won't ask about Cody. Brian Kendrick.
Brian. Well, like when I think of him, I think of chef because I think he wants to become a chef. So like I think of food now. I told him, he's like, well, that's something I'm thinking about. I'm like, no, do it. I'll be there with your eat it. Like I'll be the taste tester.
He
But
needed feeding up back in the day as well. He was a slender lad.
but all that running that they did, oh my goodness, like seriously, they just always run around and move like he was so nimble. Like wow. But yeah, I think of Kind Soul now. It's more so like the person that I know outside of wrestling. So yes, they were great when it came to him and Paul. They were great in the ring, and that's one of the tag teams. That's one of the talent where I think, God, if written the right storylines, if they could have done this right, they could have been more. And they like the company dropped the ball on them. And I wish that, because people were getting behind them, they loved them. So why invest all this storyline and then do nothing with it? It's so insane. But Brian, outside of that, I'm like, especially like when you get older, you kind of like, appreciate each other and our personalities more and life more. So to hear him like this, he still looks young, but I'm like, you sound like a wise old man.
I'm sure. I can't remember if it was Brian or Paul London, but he recently said that Joey Mercury was a 90-year-old man in a 20-year-old's body.
Oh my goodness, he always was, because he's a genius at what he does, and he takes his work seriously. So he's always been that way.
Yeah,
he's funny. Like, don't get me wrong, he's funny. But when it comes to explaining, like, he's a great teacher. Like, he has a wealth of knowledge inside that head. He's another person I learned from. And if it wasn't from working with him, I wouldn't learn as much as I have, because working side by side with them and him explaining things and the reasons why help so much more. Like, it's like OVW gave me the foundation of all this and gave me a great start. And then Joey's helping me the graduation type of deal.
Yeah, it's like a portable OVW with you at all times, isn't it?
Yes.
I will give you a couple more then, and then I will stop. The Miz.
I remember back in the day when I first started EWF, back when I first started Indies, I actually worked a show with him when I think he first started. It was like after, what was the show? The Real World. Yeah. So I remember thinking, what is this guy doing here? He's in wrestling. But you can't. And then fast forward like years later when we both have contracts, and he's the same person, like in that bar that I met him at, like after the show, he was loud, the loudest guy in the room, and you'd like turn heads like, who's that dude? Oh, it's Miz. And then flash forward to like the WWE, who's that loud person? Oh, it's of course the voice, it's Miz. That's funny to see, like, it's how things have changed but stayed the same, but in a good way.
So I've said 2, I'll stick to 2. Man, I really wanted to ask about John Heidenreich, but it probably isn't a good story about him. We'll say William Regal.
He's always been sweet, and then whenever I think of him, I think of like the Michelle McCool and Hershey storyline, where he was just like trucking. Why? Is there bad stories about him?
No. I've just got so many names. I'm trying to skip them. Give us a Regal story.
Regal. You know what? He's a person where, okay, I didn't get to like, I think I worked with him once in the ring, but when he was out there every day, like before the shows and stuff, like that guy, I want to have his legs. I want to have his legs for the fact that he was always doing squats, like endless amounts of squats on the side of the ring. And I was like, how can you do that for so long? Like, that's serious. Makes me wish I could have done that. Maybe I wouldn't have had knee problems,
Yeah.
But he's an amazing guy. He's great to talk to, a wealth of knowledge, but I'll always remember him with doing the squats.
That sounds like the Bob Backlund thing that he used to do. Just used to do 2 hours of squats or something like that, just for himself, I suppose. Last one.
Every day.
Last one. And it's not someone from WWE. It's someone you tagged up with more recently, Velvet Sky.
Oh, Velvet. Well, when I think of her love for animals. Because let's see, she was sweet to like my dogs, and then whenever I see her and she talks about her cats and birds and all this stuff, I'm like, she's just, I envision her like Snow White, and she walks out her front door, and then all the birds and animals come to her. That's the way I envision her, because she's just
landing on a finger, and then songs happen, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep. Oh my goodness, I love her. She's so sweet.